And so one thing that I wonder about there is, you may have alluded to it a little bit, but why do some people get more angry than others? In the sense that, is it just that some people are more afraid of their anger reactions and that almost sort of inflames the situation? But how can it be that some people are almost trespassed against equally, or their boundaries are crossed equally, but some get more angry than others?
It'll partly come back to worldview and the way that people look at things. And certainly from a cognitive behavioural point of view, we look out for people's thinking that can influence excessive reactions. There are three common patterns of thinking that people show when they have excessive anger reactions. One is excessive expectations of others and also themselves. You mentioned earlier the word should. Our anger is commonly influenced by the word should. They shouldn't have done this and they did, or they should have done that and they didn't. So our expectations are violated, and some people might have quite rigid expectations or at times excessive expectations, or think of the word should very often. Another attitude is a win-lose approach to conflict. Many people with excessive anger reactions think in a situation of conflict, there's going to be a winner and a loser, and I don't want to be the loser. And that can motivate them to be very forceful. And a third pattern of thinking is a need for revenge. Someone's done something wrong by me, I'll need to get back at them to even the slate. So they're the attitudinal things. But there also can be other things like a trauma history can be significant as well, and that would apply to a number of war veterans with more severe trauma reactions. With working with many war veterans, anger was one of the more prominent problems, excessive anger reactions in their families, for example. But also it can be modelling or observing other people's behaviour. People might have grown up in a home situation where, for example, their dad was often very verbally or physically aggressive, and unfortunately that modelling behaviour can rub off to some degree in terms of a way of dealing with conflict. That can be another influence. Certainly there can be certain kind of cognitive or brain functioning aspects, maybe in more rare situations, that can influence things where people are less inhibited in some ways as well. But I think very often it will come back to those attitudes that I mentioned earlier.